is a cow. Yes, I know, we should all be very, very familiar with them by now, except for one thing. What is the average natural lifespan of a cow? No one knows. Such a common animal, one that you've learned about since kindergarten, or one that maybe you eat every day. And yet, no one knows the average natural lifespan of a cow. In fact, all we know is the average lifespan of a cow before it gets executed, which is about 1.5 to 2 years. Now, on the farms that produce the meat that you eat daily, these animals are given drugs, antibiotics, and chemicals to make them produce faster and better, whether that be to sustain them in crazy living conditions, to make them produce and give birth to baby after baby after baby to make more and more milk, or to grow so insanely large that they can't even hold up their own weight. Either way, these animals are being exploited and mistreated for our benefit. But you wouldn't have any idea of it when browsing the aisles in the grocery store, seeing labels like all natural, ethically raised, or cage-free. Now, when I was a little girl, I always loved all of the animals, and it never ever occurred to me that some of the animals I thought of so dearly were being mistreated so horribly. As I got older, I learned more about the issues with the food industry, but I never fully realized the extent of these issues on the human population. Now, humane washing is a term that refers to the labels that I mentioned earlier. These labels, plastered on meat, dairy, and egg products, aren't actually legally defined by the US Department of Agriculture or the FDA. Now, although they may look wholesome when accompanied by a picture of a happy-looking pig or a fuzzy cow, the majority of them don't actually include any animal welfare requirements whatsoever. For example, all natural means nothing. It only includes post-slaughter treatment and therefore has nothing to do with how the farms treat the animals while they're alive. Now, hormone-free only encompasses the use or the absence of the use of hormones in dairy cows. Free-range birds are given access to the outdoors, but the time and the space permitted varies widely. And finally, cage-free. Did you know cage-free chickens only get 1 square foot of living space each? And those chickens unlucky enough to not be cage-free are forced to live in battery cages less than the size of an iPad. Now, every month, I make the trek from Seattle, Washington, over to Whidbey Island, where I volunteer at a farm called BallardYouth Farm Sanctuary. I work with animals that come from abusive backgrounds, and once donated or rescued by BallardYouth, they live stress-free, harvest-free lives. And I get to experience the true personalities of these animals. Did you know that goats are just like puppies? And cows are basically giant cats trying to get all up in whatever you're doing. And there's this one hen on the farm. She couldn't have a baby chick of her own, so she adopted a baby chick. Yes, some random other hen's chick, and she's acting like it's her own child. And yes, that's a chick right there in her wing. It's incredible to see these human behaviors and human emotions being exhibited in animals, something you never would have seen if they were being raised for slaughter on abusive farms. These animals deserve so much more love and respect, and the closest that we've gotten to that is the term organic. Obviously, all organic products tend to be better for you and for the environment, but they also include some animal welfare requirements. Now, chickens underneath the organic label are given 2 square feet of living space each and have constant access to the outdoors, even if it's just a small pen. These are relatively huge improvements on the other unregulated terms. The defined differences between organic products and humane wash products make buying organic a great way to counteract the profits of abusive farms. Another aspect that contributes to the mistreatment of animals is the concept of speciesism. Speciesism is a concept of justifying the exploitation of other species with the superiority of humans. So think about in our culture, eating specific animals or wearing the skins of some animals, like dogs or cats, is a barbaric idea. But on the other hand, you wear the skin of a cow almost every single day in your shoes. And obviously, if you eat meat, then you support the consumption and the slaughter of cows and chickens. So it's ingrained in our brains that some animals are here on planet Earth for our benefit, and the others are seen as companions. Anti-speciesism is the idea that an animal does not deserve to suffer for just being. And this is incredibly summarized by the philosopher Jeremy Bentham, who says, "The question is not, can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer?" This is all a very disturbing perspective on such a common occurrence in our daily lives. And I, like many of you, I'm sure, once had no idea whatsoever of the harm being caused to animals in the food industry. But through research, I learned more about the issues at hand, and I'm super excited to share this information with you today. So a lot of you might be thinking, okay, what do you want me to do about this? I love hot dogs, I love pepperoni pizza, I love burgers so much, and honestly, none of this is really affecting me. And actually, it is affecting you. I mean, that's true. I love burgers, but it is affecting you. And I would follow up with a common example of our harm to the environment and our harm to the environment and animals coming back to bite us in the butt. And that is where plastic, some way, makes its way into the ocean, and over the years degrades into something called microplastics, so tiny, tiny pieces of plastic, which is then eaten by a fish. This fish is then caught, killed, and eaten by you. Except you're not only eating the fish, you're also eating the plastic, and this leads to serious long-term health problems. There's a similar occurrence in the meat that comes from abusive farms. You might be thinking, I'm just gonna have a burger, I'm just gonna have a chicken wing. But actually, you're also ingesting all of the steroids, all of the drugs, and all of the chemicals given to these animals to keep them alive in abusive conditions. And it's also more likely that you'll contract a zoonotic pathogen or a foodborne disease. So the next time you're in the grocery store and you see the labels like ethically raised or cage-free, turn around and head over to the organic section, because in the end, it's better for you and your health, and it's better for the animals. However, buying organic can be very inaccessible for a lot of people, and to change this, we need to lobby our government to force abusive farms to bear the full cost of the harm that they're causing to our health, the environment, and the animals. This makes organic products so much more competitive. The first step into solving these problems about animal welfare is knowing about them. And together we can build a more ethical and sustainable food system by carrying this knowledge with us and letting it guide our choices throughout the grocery store and beyond. Thank you so much.